Good morning. Thank you so much for joining me once again. Let's get into the Word of God. Let's go back to 2 Peter, chapter number 1, and we're going to continue this series. This time, we're going to move on to verse number 6. But I do want to remind you, the beginning of verse number 5 that started this whole series says, "And beside this, giving all diligence." So this list of things that we're going to go over that we are continuing today at verse number 6, we better be giving all diligence to these things. So verse number 6, yesterday we learned about that we needed to add to our virtue knowledge. So now verse 6 says, "And to knowledge, temperance." Temperance. What is temperance? Well, temperance is self-control. Self-control, basically controlling our appetites, controlling our emotions. It is self-control. And let me tell you, that is most definitely something that the world lacks a lot. And if we are to live for God, we must add temperance to our lives. Otherwise, we are definitely not living for God. We are living like the rest of the world. We are living for ourselves. And, there is definitely a certain order to this list. And I remember when I was first reading it and then diving in and studying it and praying about it and meditating on it and thinking, why did God add temperance after knowledge? Right? Add to your faith virtue. That makes sense. Right? And then even adding knowledge after virtue, that makes sense to me too. But then at first, it didn't quite make sense to me why God would say, add to your knowledge temperance, self-control, right? And it began to dawn on me that, some of the most wealthiest people on the planet are also among some of the smartest. Okay, they're not stupid people. There is a reason why people have that wealth. Now, sometimes if it's inherited, that's one thing. But if they have built that wealth, you can rest assured that is not a stupid person. Okay, that is a smart person. Sometimes, especially if it's a celebrity, sometimes they may even play dumb or pretend to be stupid in public. But if they have a lot of money, they're not stupid. Okay, it took brains to do that, and I began to realize, some of the smartest people in the world are also some of the wealthiest people. Some of the wealthiest people in the world are also some of the most powerful people. And some of the most powerful people in the world are some of the most wicked people in the world. Okay, because once you have all that money, once you have, you've achieved that, you've gained enough knowledge and skill to get to the point where you have pretty much all the money you could ever ask for, could ever want or need. All temperance typically tends to go out the window. I can't tell you how many interviews I've seen of celebrities, okay, through the years. It's such a common theme, okay, whether it's a rock star musician or an actor, a famous actor, a celebrity. It doesn't matter. Once they hit that fame and money, I've seen so many interviews where they just, admit, almost brag about it. Oh yeah, I live very immorally. I can have all the immorality that I want because that money can buy. They flaunt it and they smile about it and they laugh, and then the interviewer also chuckles. It's not funny. It's horrible. They have lost all self-control, which is why many of them, after a while, they become famous for too long. They start needing, drugs, and anti-anxiety medications, and all that, because once they lose that self-control, what they're doing is they're taking all these things and trying to fill the void in their heart that can only be filled by God. And it'll never be filled by anything else from this world. And so God is teaching you, listen, when you start to gain knowledge and you start becoming intelligent, there is a temptation there to be prideful and to use that knowledge to fulfill the lust of your flesh. And that's not what we ought to be doing, especially as believers and his children. We ought to add to our knowledge temperance, self-control. Control your emotions, control your appetites, control your flesh. Add to your knowledge temperance. Thank you so much for joining me today. God bless you. Have a most wonderful day, and we'll see you tomorrow morning. Bye-bye.